I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I've been married to my husband, Andrew, who's 32, for 2 years now. We've been together for 6 years total, and for the most part, our relationship is strong. Andrew is kind, supportive, and someone I truly feel lucky to have in my life. But there's one area of our lives that has been a constant thorn in my side: his family. From the very beginning, they've treated me like I didn't quite belong, and over the years, it's only gotten worse. The first major red flag came during our wedding. Like many brides, I had spent months planning every detail to make the day special, but Andrew's family seemed to think it was their event to plan. They were insistent on including certain traditions that didn't align with what I had envisioned. I compromised at first, thinking it was important to keep the peace, but things spiraled when they decided to switch the catering I'd chosen without telling me. Imagine showing up to your wedding and realizing the menu is completely different from what you'd planned. Andrew tried to smooth things over, but it was clear his family didn't care about my feelings. That was only the beginning. After we got married, the comparisons started. Andrew's family had always been close to his ex-girlfriend, Claire, and they weren't shy about reminding me. Claire was like a daughter to us, they'd say, often in front of me. They'd bring up her accomplishments, her cooking, or how she'd been so involved in family traditions. At one point, I even overheard Andrew's mom telling a relative that Claire would have made a better fit for their family. Holidays became another battlefield. Andrew's family had an unspoken rule that every single holiday, no exceptions, had to be spent with them. When I suggested alternating between our families or hosting something at our house, they acted like I'd suggested canceling Christmas. My family was quietly hurt, but they didn't want to cause drama, so I kept going along with it to avoid rocking the boat. Every year, I'd watch my parents celebrate without me, knowing I was missing out on my own traditions. The name drama started when I decided to keep my maiden name after getting married. I wasn't making a statement or trying to upset anyone, it just felt like the right choice for me. But Andrew's family wasn't having it. They ignored my decision completely, addressing me with Andrew's last name at every opportunity. Cards, invitations, even place settings at family events, they all had his last name on them. When I gently corrected them, they'd brush it off as habit or claim they'd forgotten. The exclusion became more blatant over time. Andrew would get invited to family group chats, vacations, and outings, but I was always left out. I found out through a mutual friend that the family had taken a beach trip and hadn't even mentioned it to me. Andrew didn't see it as a big deal, saying they probably assumed he'd tell me. But the pattern was clear: I wasn't part of the family. Then there was the dinner. A few months after we bought our first home, Andrew's parents invited us over for a family meal. I thought it might be a good chance to bond, but instead, I spent the night listening to them loudly praise Claire. She used to make the best lasagna, Andrew's mom said, glancing at me like she expected me to take notes. Later, they casually implied that Andrew must have paid for our house on his own, since I wasn't contributing enough financially. For the record, Andrew and I both work full-time and share expenses equally, but that didn't seem to fit their narrative. The pressure to have kids started not long after that. Every conversation seemed to circle back to when we'd start a family, and it didn't matter how many times I said we weren't ready. To them, it wasn't a discussion, it was a mandate. When I pushed back, I was accused of being selfish or too focused on myself. Andrew tried to buffer the conversations, but his approach was always the same: keep the peace. The breaking point came during a weekend visit to their house. I was in the kitchen when I overheard Andrew's mom talking to someone on the phone. She referred to me as just the wife, as if that was all I'd ever be to them. It stung, but it also lit a fire in me. I realized I'd spent years trying to fit into a mold I was never going to fill. My own family had been a constant